Yo, what's up, guys? It's Noah here, breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Saturday, August the 1st. We're going to cover the 5-game Saturday slate on Draftkings. We have a 5-gamer on DK. Over on Yahoo, just a 3-game slate, which I'm kind of disappointed in. They decided to start their main slate at 6 o'clock, so there's only 3 games. Draftkings, though, starting their main slate at 1 o'clock, including all the games today. I believe these are all the games going on Saturday. So we'll talk through this Saturday slate, talk about the players that I like the most, that stand out to me the most. Looking at this slate the night before, we'll hit on guys at each position. As we go, we'll build an early core of 5 players. The 5 players I really like the most, just looking at this slate the night before. I will have updated core plays posted over on Patreon. If you do want to have access to those, you can check out the Patreon link down below in the description. It is the beginning of a new month, so those are usually the best times to join the Patreon. If you've ever wanted to sign up or if you've considered it, I would highly recommend you join at the beginning of the month, so that way you get, the full value out of your membership. But yeah, you can check out the updated core plays on Patreon. I usually post those about an hour or two before lock. I'll be in Discord throughout the day Saturday to answer any questions, talk through this slate with you guys. You can check all that out, link down below. Give me a follow on Twitter as well. That's linked down below in the description. If you do enjoy these videos, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, click that notification bell, so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you haven't yet, like I said, you can follow me on Twitter, which is linked down below in the description. But let's go ahead and take a look at point guard for today. We will start off at the top, where we got LeBron James as our most expensive option at $10,900. He's the most expensive player overall on this slate. So this is not the best spot for the Lakers going up against the Raptors. We know the Raptors are a very good defensive team, but it is a somewhat short slate, only 5 games. I mean, LeBron is clearly a guy you can pay up for today. I don't think he's going to be someone I prioritize, though. I really like the mid-range. I think the mid-range has a lot of strong options that we're going to talk about. I don't feel like I need to jam in LeBron, whereas like on Thursday night slate on a 2-gamer, I mean, if you didn't play LeBron in at least a few lineups, if you were playing a lot of lineups Thursday, you probably had some LeBron. Today's a day I think you can kind of get away with, even if you play 10, 20 lineups, like having no LeBron. I don't feel like I need to jam him in today, especially not in the spot against the Raptors. Just a tough matchup. Other guys I'd rather go to, I mean, you got AD for $500 less. You got like Jokic for $9K. I mean, Embiid's even $9,700. Just don't think I'm going to be paying up at point guard for LeBron. Ben Simmons at $8,600, I do have some interest in. Ben Simmons, I mean, this guy just has massive upside. 50, 60-point upside, triple-double upside every time he steps on the court. Should play massive minutes as well. I know the Sixers are going to be fighting for playoff positioning, so they should give their guys full minutes. During the regular season, I mean, Ben Simmons was getting massive minutes. He was playing like 36, 38, sometimes even 40 minutes a game. At $8,600, that is a pretty nice price tag for Simmons. I think he can get 6x value. He can get you 50, 55 DK points and be a good play at this price tag. Now, again, it is a kind of a tough matchup for him as well. The Pacers are also a very good defensive team. If we do look at defensive rating this season, the Pacers are 7th in defensive rating. Talking about LeBron, the Raptors, 2nd in defensive rating. Both the Lakers and Raptors are top 3 in terms of defensive rating. So, I mean, that's going to be – you got 2 of the best defensive teams going there. I don't think that's going to be a game I get too much exposure to today. However, Ben Simmons against the Pacers, another tough defensive team, but I think I'd rather go to Simmons, take the savings, over 2K in savings, and go to him if I'm going to pay up at point guard. But still, I don't feel like I need to go to any of these guys, like Drew, Kyle Lowry, Lonzo. Like, I don't really need any of these guys. I don't feel like I have to go to them. Chris Paul, he's listed as out on DraftKings, but that's just because he was not playing in a scrimmage game. He's going to be playing today. At $7,400, I don't think I really have a ton of interest in him, especially because I think Donovan Mitchell is the clear play at point guard for me. I mean, he's only $6,900 on DraftKings. I really like that price tag for Donovan Mitchell. He was very popular on Thursday night slate, mainly because it was a 2-gamer. But even today, I think Mitchell's probably going to be really popular again. I mean, he put up 41 DraftKings points on Thursday night, and his price tag actually dropped. He's down to $6,900 today. This is a much tougher spot against OKC, but Mitchell can easily get 6x value. I mean, 40-plus DK points is easily on the table for this guy. Like, he nearly averaged 40 DraftKings points this season. Played 36 minutes on Thursday night, so they're obviously going to give him full run, going to give him 35, 36 minutes if it's a close game. $6,900 is just a misprice, in my opinion, for Donovan Mitchell. Really, he should never be this cheap. I think he's one of the clear plays on DraftKings in that mid-range at point guard. I like him a ton at that salary. I'd rather roster him over guys like SGA, Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, definitely an injury we need to watch. He is questionable. That's something we'll need to keep an eye on. If he were to sit, someone like Monte Morris could become a really good option. This is luckily the first game on the slate, this Nuggets game, so we should have that news before lock. But yeah, looking at those 6K guards, I think I'd rather take Mitchell over all those guys. But one of the 6K guards that I do like is Fred VanVleet. So he's only 6,200 on DraftKings. This was a guy we saw priced near 8K for most of the regular season. I mean, you look at the box score, like his salary, 7,400, 7,600, 7,600. I mean, he's giving you 30-plus DraftKings points pretty much every night. His floor is almost 30 DK points. At 6,200, I mean, if he gives you like 35 DK points here, that is actually a pretty good game for a $6,200 salary. And I think 35 DK points is like kind of a floor game for Fred VanVleet, especially with the minutes he plays. I mean, he was getting nearly 40 minutes a game during the regular season. I think the Raptors are fighting like for playoff position. I know they're at the top of the Eastern Conference, but they still want the number 2 seed. I'm pretty sure is what they're trying to get. They're not going to catch the Bucks for the 1 seed, but if they want to hold on to that number 2 seed, they're going to need to win these games. I expect their starters to be playing their full allotment of minutes. I like Fred VanVleet a lot at only 6,200. I know I said earlier this is not a game that I want to get much exposure to, but there are a couple of guys on the Raptors that I think are underpriced today on DraftKings, and Fred VanVleet's one of them at 6,200, so I do like him a lot. Looking at this like the night before, he is pretty nicely priced over on Yahoo as well. He's only $26 over there at shooting guard. We're going to talk about Paul George in a second. I really like Paul George again, but I think besides Paul George, Fred VanVleet looks like the next best shooting guard on Yahoo. Like, you have Oladipo for 27 or VanVleet for 26. I would much rather roster VanVleet for $1 less, so really like him on both sides today. Malcolm Brogdon, that's another injury we need to watch. He is questionable for this game. If he plays, I think at 5,800, he's somewhat interesting. Another guy that just feels a little bit underpriced. I mean, this is a guy we were paying nearly 7K for pretty much every night during the regular season. Now he's only 5,800 today. Not the best spot against Philly, but again, the price tag makes him a very appealing option, just in my opinion. This is one of the later games. Like, this is the 7 o'clock game, so we're not going to have the news before lock, I wouldn't imagine. So you're definitely going to want to have a plan in with your lineup. So maybe if you play Brogdon, just have a plan. If he gets ruled out, who you're going to swap to, who you're going to take out. Obviously, the beneficiary there would most likely be TJ McConnell. I assume if Brogdon were to sit, then TJ McConnell would get the start. And I haven't looked at his price, but yeah, he's 3,800 on DraftKings, so he would become a really good value play that I would definitely want to be on. But in that 5K range, I don't think there's really anything else. Like Milton, Conley, I don't really want to go to these guys. I mean, Conley on Thursday night, he was pretty good. 34 minutes, 31 DK points. That's probably what you're going to get from him today. Maybe he'll have a little bit of a better game. Did shoot 43% from the field, 28% from 3. So if he has a little bit of a better shooting performance, I mean, he can give you 35 DK points, which is pretty good at only 5,400. So I guess Conley's in play in that 5K range. But I think if I can find the salary, I'd want to get up to someone like Fred VanVleet. One value, though, that I do like at point guard a lot is Reggie Jackson. So Reggie Jackson was pretty popular on Thursday night. Everyone was assuming that Patrick Beverley was going to be out. I thought Beverley was going to be out, and then we got word around 8 o'clock, about an hour before the game started, that Beverley was going to play. But then right before the game started, we got news that Beverley was going to be on a minutes restriction and that Reggie Jackson was going to get the start. And he started Thursday night and played 34 minutes against the Lakers, only had 22 DraftKings points, but I think that was great to see that he played 34 minutes. I don't know if he gets 34 minutes today, but with Beverley limited, I think they're just going to keep starting Reggie Jackson. He'll probably play at least 28 to 30 minutes if I had to guess. I really like him at 4,100. This is a much better spot here against the Pelicans. I mean, the Pelicans, Jackson pretty much went from the worst possible matchup to the best possible matchup. Lakers, really good defensive team. They don't play at too fast of a pace. The Pelicans, on the other hand, pretty bad defensive team. They're bottom 10 in defensive rating. And in terms of pace, I mean, this is one of the fastest paced teams in the league. The Pelicans rank 3rd in pace. So love this spot for Reggie Jackson. I'm going to be back on him on Saturday. I assume he gets the start again. If he doesn't start, then we can make some changes. But for now, I'm assuming Jackson starts, and I really like him at 4,100. And on Yahoo, he really stands out over there. He's actually minimum salary, just $10. I mean, if you're going cheap at point guard, Jackson is a clear value over on Yahoo, just in my opinion. But yeah, I think that's it for point guard value. Like I said, if Brogdon were to sit, then you have McConnell for 3,800. If if Jamal Murray winds up sitting, you have Monte Morris for 3,500. Both those guys will become really good value plays. Let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard now. So at shooting guard, I think a guy like Jimmy Butler for 7,600 is definitely a fine option. Just a little bit underpriced in my opinion for the upside that he has. I mean, we know Jimmy Butler, the ball runs through him in this Heat offense. He's going to get all the usage. I do like him. I don't like the matchup against Denver. I mean, Denver's a really good defensive team. They play at a slow pace, but the minutes should be there for Jimmy Butler. I think the Heat are another team that, tries or needs to win games so they can get a good playoff spot or they can get a good seed. They can get maybe the 3 seed or the 4 seed. I'm not sure where they're at in the standings right now. At 7,600, there's an easy path for him to pay off this price tag. So he's a guy you could look to. I think given the savings, I'd rather roster like Mitchell, even Van Vliet for cheaper. But, there's some good value today. So you'll probably have the salary to pay up for Butler if you want to do that. But in this 6K range, another injury, Will Barton, he's already been ruled out, so that is something we'll need to keep an eye on, or that is something to take note of. We could get some value from Denver. I don't know if I really want to target someone like Torrey Craig, but we'll just have to see who starts for them. Like I said earlier, this is the first game on the slate. This is the 1 o'clock game, so we will know the Nuggets starting lineup before lock. I assume that Torrey Craig starts, but maybe if Monte Morris were to start alongside Jamal Murray, that would make him a really good value, just in my opinion. But yeah, shooting guard, not a ton of options that really stand out. Jordan Clarkson, I think, is going to be a great value again. He's only 3,900 on DraftKings. His price actually dropped. It's a tougher matchup against OKC, but he played 32 minutes on Thursday night against the Pelicans, had a great game, 37 DraftKings points, took a ton of shots, took 17 shots in that game, shot 47% from the field, only shot 12% from 3. I mean, there was an easy path for Clarkson to get 40 DK points on Thursday night if he would just made, another three-pointer. At 3,900, I like him a ton as a value play. I think we can go right back to Jordan Clarkson. The minutes should be there. He's a high-usage player. Even when even though he comes off the bench, I mean, he's going to have a lot of usage, especially when Conley and Mitchell are off the floor. So I like Jordan Clarkson a ton. I think there's a lot of good value guards, and 2 that really stand out looking at this slate the night before are Jackson and Clarkson. I like both those guys quite a bit. But yeah, I think that's what I'm looking at for shooting guard today in terms of value plays. Those are the guys that really stand out the most. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward now. I definitely like a guy here. I like a couple guys here. So Kawhi Leonard, 8,900, I think looks like a guy you can definitely pay up for. His price came down a little bit. I think he was 9.2 on the last slate. Yeah, he was 9,200 last slate against the Lakers. Played 33 minutes, got his full minutes. Only put up 45 DK points, which was kind of a disappointing score. But the price tag came down. It's a much better matchup against the Pelicans. Normally, Kawhi is not a guy that I like playing just because I don't think he has that big-time upside that guys like LeBron, AD have. I don't think it's possible for Kawhi to go out there and put up 70 DK points, especially when Paul George is healthy and taking away usage. But the price came down a little bit. We've got value today. I don't mind paying up for Kawhi. Between him and Ben Simmons, I think I prefer Ben Simmons even in a tougher spot. I just like Ben Simmons' game. I mean, I just love what he does for fantasy. Ben Simmons can score 8 points and still get you 50 DraftKings points because he can get 15 assists and 13 rebounds and 2 steals and 2 blocks. He just does everything. So I give the slight edge to Simmons, but really have no problem with either guy. Paul George, I like a ton. Again, I was very high on him Thursday night. He was really popular. Had a really good game. Played 34 minutes against the Lakers. Did not look rusty at all. I mean, he looked fantastic. Shot 64% from the field, 54% from 3, finished with 47 DraftKings points. The price tag did come up on DraftKings, but I still want to go to Paul George today. I like him a ton at 7,900. I think on Yahoo he looks like one of the best shooting guard options at $32. Given the savings, I would much rather roster him over Drew Holiday, given the $5 savings. Really like Paul George today. I think he is one of my favorite plays, shooting guard, small forward, whatever. I mean, he looks like a clear option. I do prefer him over guys like Ingram and Butler in that 7K range. We could take out Fred VanVleet and plug in Paul George. I might want to do that. Yeah, I think I feel a little bit better with George over VanVleet. So let's take out VanVleet and let's put George in there. We got the salary too since we went with Clarkson and Jackson as value plays. I mean, we got all the salary in the world. Still got 6,800 remaining per player. Not saying I don't like VanVleet. You could leave him in there. I think VanVleet's a great play at 6,200. But just because we have the extra salary, because we've already plugged in 2 values, we might want to spend some of this salary. So I just went ahead and upgraded from VanVleet to George. Like I said, though, that doesn't mean I don't like VanVleet. I still really like him today. And you could still put him into this build if you wanted to, if you wanted to build around these 5 plays. But I think that's what I'm seeing at small forward. In terms of mid-range options, getting down here for value, Royce O'Neal was a guy that looked really good Thursday night, had a big game, played 35 minutes, did shoot pretty well from the field, which I don't know if he's going to do every night. Was able to contribute with the peripherals, though, had 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals to go along with 12 points. Finished with 30 Draftkings points, 4,800. I don't mind going back to Royce O'Neal here. I do prefer some of the guard value we have today, like Clarkson and Jackson. But if you want to really go stars and scrubs and put in Clarkson, Jackson, and O'Neal, I mean, you can really fit in the studs once you do that. Kyle Kuzma, another guy you could go to for value, looked really good Thursday night, got the minutes, played 32 minutes against the Clippers, had 31 Draftkings points. Another guy that kind of got hot from the field. I mean, 50% from the field, 57% from 3. I doubt he shoots that well every game, but getting 32 minutes even off the bench is a big plus, and he's only 4,300 still. So I do have some interest in Kyle Kuzma as a small forward value, but I think we covered everything here in terms of value plays, at least looking at this like the night before. Obviously, I can't hit on everybody, so I'm just going to really try and touch on the guys that stand out to me the most. Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. So at power forward, I think Anthony Davis, 10,400. Just talking about like this, the top tier stud, 9K and above. He's probably my favorite guy to go to. Wasn't that great Thursday night. Neither was LeBron. Both LeBron and AD were kind of disappointing. Both of them scored less than 50 Draftkings points. AD finished with 49 DK points, but played 35 minutes. The minutes were there. Had 34 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Didn't really get the peripherals like you would expect. I mean, 34 points is great for AD. Just didn't get like the double-double, which is normally, he's almost a lock for a double-double most nights. At 10-4 against the Raptors, not the best matchup, but AD just has so much upside, and with all the value we have today, I have no problems paying up for him. He's definitely one of my favorite spin-ups, especially because power forward is kind of a weak position today. There's not a lot of options that really stand out when you just skim over the position. There's not any guys you see that you just feel like you have to play, so I have no problems paying up for AD here. Siakam for 8-4. Doubt I really go there. I think I'd rather just get up to AD if possible. Zion's going to be on a minutes restriction, so we don't really want to go to him. Tobias Harris, I think, is fine at 7,100, but when the Phillies or not the Phillies, Jesus, I'm in baseball mode right now. When the Sixers are fully healthy, usually Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are the 2 guys I like the most to target just from that team. Harris is the 3rd option. If I'm going to target someone from the Sixers, not named Embiid or Simmons, it's going to be Tobias Harris, but again, I just don't know if this is a range I really go to at power forward. I think I'm probably just going to pay up at this position or play a cheap guy like Royce O'Neal. Those are kind of the guys that stand out to me. Royce O'Neal, Kyle Kuzma. These are the kind of guys I'm looking at power forward today. I think that's probably it for this position, though. Not a lot to talk about here. Not a lot of plays that really stand out when you just skim over this slate. And looking at this slate the night before. On Yahoo, looking at the small forward position and power forward position, I mean, power forward's not great on Yahoo. I think paying up for AD makes a ton of sense over on Yahoo, and I definitely like doing that. Just because you look at the position, I mean, you're not playing Zion. He's on a minutes restriction. You could play Siakam at 37, but that just feels a little bit too expensive. I do like Tobias Harris at 30. When Embiid's healthy, I don't really play Al Horford, so I don't want to play Al Horford. I feel like on Yahoo, you're probably either going to pay it for Davis or Siakam, go to Harris in the mid-range, or play a guy like Kyle Kuzma for value. I don't think there's really any minimum salary guys worth playing. JaMychal Green, how many minutes did he get? Yeah, he played 28 minutes on Thursday. Only had 15 fantasy points, though. I mean, if you told me JaMychal Green was going to play 28 minutes again, I'd have some interest in him at minimum salary on Yahoo. But, yeah, I think this is a position I want to try and pay up at if I can. Try and get up to AD if possible. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at power forward today. Just guys that stand out to me looking at the slate the night before. Let's go ahead and touch on center real quick just before we end the video. So at center, we do have some options at the top here. You got Embiid for 9,700 against the Pacers. You got Jokic for 9K against the Heat. Talking about Embiid, I have some interest in him today against the Pacers. This isn't the best spot. I mean, the Pacers have a good defense. They're a good defensive team. They did get killed by big men, though. I'm pretty sure the Pacers were top 5 in terms of fantasy points allowed to centers during the regular season. And for what it's worth, Embiid did have a big game against the Pacers during the regular season, put up 60 Draftkings points in 33 minutes against them. At 9,700, I mean, he is expensive. This isn't much of a discount. Like, this is a normal Embiid price. If anything, he's a little bit overpriced. Jokic, I think, is a little bit too cheap, though, at 9K. I know everyone saw the pictures of Jokic, and how much weight he's lost. Maybe that'll transition to better game and to better fantasy output. Just reading this blurb right here, it looks like Jokic went scoreless but posted 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block in 24 minutes during the Magic. That's not really great that he went scoreless in 24 minutes. But I mean, 9K for Jokic against the Heat. I do have some interest in him here. I think the price tag is very reasonable. I don't know if he's a guy that I play, though, or I pay up for, or consider like a core play. Center, I think, has a really good option in the mid-range. Like, the mid-range is really loaded at center. One of my favorite plays of the day comes at the mid-range that you could probably tell by the thumbnail. So I don't know if center is a position I really pay up at. I do like AD a lot today, but I'll most likely be playing him at power forward. So let's talk about some of these mid-range centers. One guy that I absolutely love today is Miles Turner. Miles Turner is probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. I know he's going to be really popular, but we already know that Domantas Sabonis is going to be out for the Pacers. And if you take a look at usage this season with Sabonis off the floor, Miles Turner gets a massive boost. Whenever he's not playing alongside Sabonis, it is like drastic for his fantasy outlook, for his just fantasy production. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the numbers just real quick so you guys can see. Sabonis pretty much gets to play center. His rebounding numbers see a huge spike whenever Sabonis is off the floor. Gets an increase in usage as well. So Turner's played 561 minutes this season with Sabonis off the floor. Has a 24% usage rate. His total rebound percentage jumps up to 14.1%, which is second highest on the team, or third highest on the team, only behind TJ Leaf and Alzee Johnson, but I don't think Johnson will be even getting minutes. TJ Leaf, he should probably get some minutes since Sabonis is out. But yeah, 24% usage rate, averaging 1.17 fantasy points per minute. If we take a look at the differential, that's a 6% bump in usage, and he goes from averaging, if I can do the math in my head real quick, he goes from averaging like 0.85 fantasy points per minute to 1.17. Huge bump for Miles Turner. It's a tough matchup against Philly. A lot of concerns here, definitely with foul trouble. I know it seems like whenever Turner faces the Sixers, he always seems to get in foul trouble against Embiid. If he can stay out of foul trouble, though, he should play probably 30, 32 minutes, if not more. I expect him to be incredibly productive when he's on the floor now that Sabonis is out. He's going to be the primary center, going to get more rebounding opportunities with Sabonis not on the floor, going to get more usage. And at 6,200, I mean, they didn't really adjust his price for Sabonis being out. Like, if they would have adjusted his price, he should have been probably like 7K, even more than that. I mean, I think it was a game during the regular season. I believe it was during the Bulls. Sabonis was out, and Miles Turner went out there and put up like 50 Draftkings points. Like, that is the kind of upside this guy has when you take Sabonis off the floor. He can get you a double-double. We know he's a great shot blocker. Just so much upside for Miles Turner, and he's incredibly underpriced in my opinion. So, love him at 6,200 on DraftKings. Love him on Yahoo as well at $23. I think he's clearly one of the top center plays over there. But then one last guy I want to talk about real quick just before we end the video. So Serge Ibaka is a guy that I like a lot, especially over on Yahoo. $22 feels like a really cheap price tag for Ibaka. Definitely a guy that I think is underpriced. So before the season got shut down, Ibaka was getting massive minutes. I mean, he was playing 36, 37 minutes a night. Some games he would only get like 30 minutes, but he's still such a productive player when he's on the floor that he can, put up 35, 40 fantasy points in only 30 minutes. Marc Gasol is healthy now, which hurts Ibaka's value a little bit, but I still expect Ibaka to be the starting center even with Gasol healthy. I still expect him to get a large majority of the center minutes. And because this is a matchup against the Lakers, and we know the Lakers play big with one of McGee, Dwight, or AD on the floor at all times, I would not be surprised if you maybe see Ibaka and Gasol start alongside each other to match up with Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee, which would be even better for Ibaka. That would just make me feel even better about his minutes, knowing that they're going to play him alongside Gasol, and those guys won't be taking minutes away from each other. I think when Ibaka's playing, 30, 32 minutes, sometimes even more, when he's playing that amount of minutes a night, like he needs to be probably 7K. I mean, this is a guy that has legit 45, 50-point upside when he gets starters minutes. He's a fantasy point per minute player, a guy that can score and can rebound, can get you a double-double very easily. At 6,400 on DK and $22 on Yahoo, I think he's really underpriced today. So I do like Serge Ibaka quite a bit on both sites. I think he's a really good option in that mid-range. Straight up, I'd rather roster Miles Turner, but if you want to play both guys together, use up both of your center spots, your center and your util, I mean, I have no problems with that at all. But yeah, I think that covers center. I mean, Steven Adams at 5,300 does feel a little bit too cheap. This feels like a spot where he would have to play minutes to match up with Rudy Gobert, so you could definitely go to him at 5,300. Vika Zubac was a guy that I liked a lot Thursday night, and it really didn't work out. With Montrezl Harrell out, I thought the minutes would be there, and I mean, If you watch the game, he got into some very early foul trouble. I still don't know if he would have played big minutes, though. I mean, even like 24 minutes, I don't even know if he would have got to 24 minutes, even if he wasn't in foul trouble. They just don't play Zubac big minutes. I guess that was kind of a mistake on my part. I thought they would maybe give like Zubac 25, 26 minutes with Harrell out. But even if he would have not been in foul trouble, he probably would have been on pace to only play about 20 minutes, which I don't think that's going to cut it for 4,600. So I doubt I go to him today. I doubt I go back to that well. So yeah, I think we covered everything for center, at least looking at this slate the night before. I think that's everything for this 5-game slate and 3-gamer on Yahoo. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. I'm getting out a ton of content right now on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to upload NBA and MLB videos every single day. I might miss one sport some days. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to get an MLB video out for this Saturday slate. I'm going to try to. Definitely getting this one out, this NBA video out though. If I can only like make a video on one sport, it's probably going to be NBA, just because you guys seem to enjoy my NBA videos more than MLB. But if I have the time, I'm going to try and get both videos out, or 2 videos out a day for both sports for pretty much every single day till the season's over. Just trying to get out as much content as I can on this YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button, guys. I would greatly appreciate it. Click the notification bell so that way you get notified every time I upload. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to check out some of my Patreon exclusive content, that is linked down below in the description. You can get access to my updated core plays. You can join our Discord chat where I'm in there throughout the day. Everyone else is in there talking to each other. I'm there to answer questions you may have. We can talk through the slate together. Check out the Patreon. Follow me on Twitter, link down below as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one, guys. Peace.